Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. That's one of the most famous quotations from a physician called Hippocrates, who's considered to be the father of Western medicine. Welcome to Genesis in Medicine podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Victoria Joseph. I am so excited to have you here. This is the podcast where we delve into all things nutrition, health, and medicine. And we are grounded in truth, research, knowledge, as well as real life experiences. Now let's dive into the episode. Honestly, this might be a stretch, but do you know that there's a sugar pandemic? I don't know if you have ever known that sugar can be a drug. It's sort of addictive, and in some points they've actually correlated it with cocaine, saying, the centers in the brain that are stimulated when you use cocaine are the same centers in your brain that are stimulated when you're using sugar, when you're over-consuming sugar. So today, let us speak about sugar, the sugar pandemic, and what exactly is the real pandemic? What is the real problem? By now, I think we know what pandemic is, right? Especially after 2020. We understand what pandemic is. In short, it's this global crisis. Now, is sugar a drug? Some people say that sugar is a drug. And, as much as it is considered to be a drug, we love it, right? I mean, even look at the people that we love. We sometimes call them sugar. I am yet to hear somebody calling another person a vegetable. I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But my understanding is we usually call the people we love with sweet things such as sugar. So, you call your husband, your spouse, whoever it is, you call them sugar, right? But that is how much you understand the love that people have for sugar. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a kind of a taste that is really nice to feel. It's a really nice taste to experience. So I'm not saying that I am out of that list. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that it has become a pandemic to a point that people can no longer control their consumption of sugar. So what exactly is the pandemic? The pandemic here is this: the overconsumption of sugar has been normalized. And the real problem here is the hidden sugars, more than the sugar that we add ourselves, so because there's sugar that we add in the tea, in the coffee, in our cereals, wherever places that you usually add your teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, 5 teaspoons of sugar, that is okay. The real pandemic I'm talking about here is the hidden sugars. The hidden sugars are found in the foods that are processed. So, they're found in things that we don't even know about. For instance, ketchup, tomato paste, peanut butter. Those things contain sugar, and they contain processed sugar. We even find it in drinks, even the ones, the coffees in the tin, the sodas, some of the waters, the flavored waters and all that. You can find different kinds of sugar. We sometimes think that it's only when you see, glucose written in the ingredients, that's when you know that there is sugar. But in real sense, there are some sugars that we do not know of because they are using these chemically engineered words that we do not know of. And you think it's just one of the ingredients. No, it's actually another type of sugar. So you might find in one food component, for instance, a peanut butter, you might find 3 types of sugar. Did you need all that? No. Was it really required? No. So in your head, you might be thinking you're not eating a lot of sugar, but in real sense, you're actually eating a lot of sugar unknowingly because you do not understand the names that are being used. Now, I will not go into details on the names and listing the names of sugars that can be found in the ingredients. Not today, but I'm just trying to build a foundation of your understanding that most of the sugars that we consume are hidden sugars. So when there's also, apart from the processed foods, when there is an industrial mass production of food, sugars are always heated there, a lot of sugar. So industrial mass production of food it means that you're not just making it for 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. Like there's an industry that is actually creating a product that can be deemed as healthy, but really not healthy because of the types of sugar that they're using in order to ensure that the flavor remains, the flavor still remains in the food. Because sugar has the tendency of boosting up the savory of the food, but also at the same time, it has a tendency of adding some sort of sweetness in the food. So because you're producing something in a large capacity, in a large production, and it's a mass amount of foods, then adding sugar will boost the flavor, and therefore the flavor of the food will not be declined just because it's an industrial mass production of food. Because in our understanding, we even know at home, when you're cooking for so many people, you might have a little bit of a challenge when it comes to balancing the flavors as you were cooking for for few people. So if you're cooking for few people and you're cooking for a lot of people, the balance of flavors is a bit different. So it's the same thing as the industrial mass production of the food products. Now, have you noticed that sugary-based foods are cheap? Very cheap, especially in developing countries. But what is interesting, in the wealthy countries, sugar is not cheap. As a matter of fact, there's this thing they call sugar tax. So in that sense, it supports, or rather it discourages them to use sugar, right? Or rather to use sugary foods. But in the countries that are developing, the sugary foods, the processed foods, are way cheaper compared to the wealthy ones. That should sound an alarm in your head. Why is that so? I don't know either, but that is the fact. So what are the cons, or rather the negative parts of sugar? I think by now we have an understanding, a basic understanding, that overconsumption of sugar is a problem. It is a real problem. So the overconsumption of sugar tends to increase the risk of obesity and type 2 diabetes. I mean, this is a global pandemic. It's one of the public health crises, because a lot of people are suffering from type 2 diabetes. And what is sad now is people who are young as 30s, early 20s, they're suffering from type 2 diabetes, not type 1, type 2 diabetes, the one that is attained due to a lifestyle modification. So that should tell you something, that we are in danger. But also it causes that release of a dopamine hormone, that is, we call it a reward hormone. So you feel a reward of some sort. And because you feel a reward of some sort, it's like a drug. So because you feel a reward of some sort, it brings forth a compulsive behavior, it's like when you have a substance addiction. So you tend to have a compulsive behavior. So you know that, you know what, I'm doing this so that I can reward myself with sugar, because at the end of the day, you love the feeling of dopamine. And that is a problem as well, because that dopamine rush that is consistent can bring forth neurological problems, cognitive issues, neurological problems in terms of your brain, your thinking. You'll be surprised. You have a short-term memory. You have a loss of memory. You have brain fog and all that. You are always tired. Your energy is low. That can be brought about because of the dopamine rush and crash, rush and crash. Another thing is it can also mess up your sleep disturbance. So because of the neurological effect, it can bring forth disturbing pattern of your sleep. So you might find yourself, you're having insomnias. Insomnias is like lack of sleep. You can't sleep. You find yourself, you need a distraction to sleep, or to even eat something sweet to sleep. And the more disturbed your sleep is, the more you want to eat more glucose. I don't know if you have noticed, if you haven't slept for a while, you find yourself, you want to eat something. You are always, it's like you're craving something. And that is a problem. So it just, the problem keeps on compounding, and that's not okay. If you need help when it comes to your body weight management, or you have nutritional deficiencies, or body weight changes due to hormonal imbalance, or you need to restore your relationship with food, we are here for you. We are here to provide the services for you. You can book a consultation with us. Even if you are having chronic conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, cancer, autoimmune disorders, or any other health concerns, we are here to serve you. So make sure you book your consultation, and we'll create for you a meal guide that will help you and work for your lifestyle. And it will help you live a healthy and a balanced life for the rest of your life. You're welcome. So what is actually hidden sugar? Where is it found? As I've said initially, it's found in the ketchup, in the tomato paste, in the peanut butter, in the butter itself, in so many others obvious processed foods and drinks. It is actually estimated that per day, most people take 17 teaspoons of sugar. And that is approximately 20% of the calories that you take per day, if we assume that you are taking maybe 2,000 calories per day. So if you're taking 7 teaspoons of sugar per day, it means you're taking 20% of your calories is sugar only. That is a problem. That will highly likely push you to have obesity. That will highly likely push you to even be at risk of having type 2 diabetes. That is a problem. And another thing that maybe I should point out is that for you to take the right amount of sugar, you need to take 10% of your calorie. So for women, we approximate 6 teaspoons per day. For men, maybe 8 to 9 teaspoons of sugar per day. But having that to be escalated to 17 teaspoons of sugar per day and being normalized, like it's a very usual thing that we do each and every day, we cannot be, the diseases that we can have will not be inevitable. So will be inevitable. So it's very important for us to be mindful of what we are eating, how much sugar we are consuming. Learn to read the labels, read the ingredients. Don't just take things for the sake of taking. Understand what you're eating so that you understand what amount of sugar are you actually consuming. So what are the effects? Now I'll speak in details, the effects of overconsumption of sugar, because I've summarized it a little bit. I said about obesity and type 2 diabetes, but it is so much more when it comes to overconsumption of sugar. So the overconsumption of sugar can lead to the following. It can lead to obesity. So when it leads to obesity, what it does, it will mess up with a hormone. We call it a hunger hormone. It's called leptin. So in that aspect, you highly likely will always be feeling hungry because the leptin hormone is always overstimulated. You understand? So it's for an obese person, that's why you find them, they keep on eating. The more obese they are, the more they want to eat because the leptin hormone is messed up. But also, because of the obesity, you might find yourself, your liver contains a lot of fat. You might have a fatty liver. And if your liver is fatty, then it will just dial down the functioning of the liver. And liver is very important because one of the main functions of the liver is to detoxicate your body. So if the liver is not functioning well, highly likely your body will be full of toxins, and that is not good for you. Another thing is heart disease. It may lead to heart disease. Heart disease, we know one of the risk factors of heart disease is obesity. And because we already said that obesity can be caused by the overconsumption of sugar, therefore that can propagate to causing heart disease. It can also lead to type 2 diabetes. Again, obesity being the risk factor, high body fat high body fat percentage, but also due to the overconsumption of sugar, it might lead to insulin resistance. The insulin is a compound that is used to convert sugar into another form so that it can be stored. Now, If the insulin is not well, because what happens is when you are over consuming sugar, the insulin goes up and then it crashes. I don't know if you've heard of sugar crash. So, you get a sugar rush and then it crashes immediately. Like you're very energetic, and then after a short time, it goes down. I think you can observe it with kids. After they've eaten sugar, they'll just go running around going. It's like they've lost their minds. But in real sense, they've had a sugar rush, and then eventually they'll have a sugar crash. When they are tired, the energy is low and all that. That can easily lead to insulin resistance. So when insulin resistance happens, that means the insulin will not be functioning according to how it is supposed to function, and therefore causing type 2 diabetes. So that is a problem. Another thing that can happen because of overconsumption of sugar is acne problems. So because of the sugar is a lot, it increases the production of oil in our bodies. So if it increases the production of oil in our bodies, you can easily get acne and on your skin, on your face and all that. So that's why when people have really bad acne, one of the things we tell them is to cut off their sugar consumption. Also, it can, because of inflammation, sugar promotes body inflammation, cellular inflammation. And because of the inflammation, it may also lead to acne as well. So we see it's not a good thing. Another thing is depression. So because of a chronic inflammation, and the inflammation is not happening on one system, it's almost all the systems. So there's we call it a chronic systemic inflammation. It means like it's an inflammation of the body systems for a long period of time. That may it can disrupt the body. So it can lead to depression. But also because of the dopamine rise and, rise and fall. So that's it's disrupting the body system. So in that aspect, it's easy for us to get depression. So it can also bring forth cognitive issues. And as I've said before, it can bring forth poor memory as well. So the dopamine rise and fall can actually lead to depression. I think that's something to take seriously. Another thing is skin aging. So there are compounds that are usually produced, and when they react with sugar and protein, they tend to destroy the collagen and elastin. So collagen, we know, is a protein that is used to, keep our skin look youthful. I think we have seen the trend now. Everybody's taking collagen powder, applying collagen something. Somehow everybody's trying to age backwards. But the collagen production in our bodies are affected by the amount of sugar that we also take. So the moment you are over-consuming sugar, what happens is that your collagen in the body is distracted. And if it is distracted, in that case, then it won't be produced enough for you having for you to have that youthful look, or rather to age with grace. But also the compounds also destroy the elastin production. Elastin, as it comes from the word elastic. So you see, like a rubber band, you pull something and it comes back. So the skin, if the skin is not elastic, it lacks that youthful look. But when the skin is elastic, it has the youthful look. That's why when you pull a child's skin, it goes back almost immediately. But when you pull it from a person who's really old, maybe in their 80s and 90s, you'll find that the skin is sagging. That is because the elastin production is lower. And therefore, elastin is for a youthful looking skin. So it affects your skin aging, but also it affects your cellular aging. So that is within the body. The cells. So there's a compound called telomere. This compound helps in keeping the cells young. But then if you overconsume sugar, it tends to shorten, because it tends to, when we keep on aging, the telomere compound shortens. And if it shortens, then it causes the aging of the cells. If it causes the aging of the cells, it causes the aging of the body in general. So if you overconsume sugar, it facilitates the shortening of the telomere compound to go faster than normal. And therefore you find yourself that your body is aging faster compared to the age that you're in. And another thing is it brings forth low energy. So as much as, yes, after you have consumed sugar, your energy is high, you overconsume sugar, your energy is high, but then you'll have a sugar crash almost immediately. And after you get the sugar crash, that is when your energy is low. You don't want to do anything. You're probably moody and tired. You just want to sleep. So those are the effects of the overconsumption of sugar. And we see that they're not positive. They're not helpful. They actually go against each and everything that we want for our bodies, right? We want to be healthier people. We want to be people that can, you can achieve the goals that we want to achieve. We are the high achievers generations. We want to, you want to be a go-getter and all that. But if you're a person who is over-consuming sugar, highly likely you will be groggy, you will be unhealthy, you'll be tired, and that is not good. So I will give you for free tips on how to eat less sugar. So number one, consider eating more whole foods. Whole foods are these foods that are from the farm. You go to the grocery, you go to Gengeni, Mama Mboga, places that are legit. They legitimately sell fresh foods. Go get those foods. Actual foods, not the ones that are already in the tin, the packets. No, actual foods that are from the farm, from the ground up. And you go and, buy those things and you go to cook yourself. They might have sugar, but a very small amount compared to the hidden sugars that are found in the processed food. Another thing, drink more water, more teas, rather than, sodas and juices and all that. As long as it is processed, there's already some kind of sugar in there. So you have to be careful with that. So instead, I'm not telling you to stop drinking that completely unless you have type 2 diabetes, because I don't believe in total restriction. But what I'm telling you is reduce the consumption by actually drinking more water, more teas, and you tend to maintain the amount of sugar. You can actually know what amount of sugar you're using in your tea instead of just drinking for the sake of drinking from the soda or from whatever place that you've bought the processed drink. Another thing, if you want to sweeten something, for example, you're eating yogurt. I know some of us love to eat flavored yogurts, vanilla yogurt, chocolate yogurt, strawberry yogurt. Instead of doing that, why not buy plain yogurt, right? And then you sweeten it with fruits instead of buying flavored yogurts. Flavored yogurts highly likely contain a lot of sugar compared to the plain yogurt where you can add fruits and actually get the sugar from the fruits. So instead of flavored yogurt, use the plain yogurt and then add the fruits. And then learn to read the nutritional labels. You go buy food somewhere, whatever processed food that you're trying to buy, if it's tomato paste, read what exactly is the ingredient in this product and try to understand, gain an understanding of each and every product. Each and every ingredient that is written in the product. Don't be in total relaxation that, I don't care, as long as it's not written glucose, then it's not sugar. No, there must be other kinds of sugar that are hidden, and that can be a problem for your health in the long run. And lastly, eat more homemade meals. I understand we are busy. We are always busy. We always want to be doing something quick and fast, but learn to eat more homemade meals. Cook the foods at home. You're going to work, carry the food. Go with it to work. Instead of eating outside, eating around the areas that are selling junk foods every single day. I'm not saying that you should never eat. If you can do that, perfect. You have a strong mind. But if you know that you're not there yet, you can learn to cut down. Start cutting down and eat more of the foods that you're cooking at home that you have actually bought from the groceries, the ingredients. As I've said, eat more whole foods. Where do you get the whole foods? From the market, from the groceries. And then after that, you bring them home, you cook the food. You are in control of each and every ingredient that you add. Even if you're going to add sugar, at the end of the day, you are in control of what you eat. And it's so important that we gain back that control in our lives, especially when it comes to our eating. Thank you for joining me. Leave out a comment. If you have any questions, please leave out in the comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Don't just watch this channel. Make sure you subscribe. It helps, propagate even these episodes to go farther and farther and reach people who need this kind of knowledge. Thank you.